Coming up on today's Airborne, the NBAA says the president should ditch the latest aviation user fee attempt. Fantasy of Flight takes a bold next step on its journey. And Mooney's management leadership team takes shape. Welcome to Airborne on Aero-TV. I'm Ashley Hale. The White House has included aviation user fees for general aviation use of air traffic control services in President Obama's fiscal year 2015 spending proposal. The budget proposal states, quote, to more equitably distribute the cost of air traffic services across the aviation user community, the administration proposes to establish a new surcharge for air traffic services of $100 per flight. Military aircraft, public aircraft, piston aircraft, air ambulances, aircraft operating outside of control airspace, and Canada-to-Canada flights would be exempt, end quote. Once again, the White House continues to set aside the reality that the general aviation community already pays for its use of air traffic services through the proven and efficient fuel tax. Clearly, general aviation turbine-powered aircraft are being singled out for this fee. Ed Bolin, NBAA president and CEO, said, quote, the NBAA will continue to work to defeat user fees and support the aviation fuel tax mechanism as the most effective way for us to contribute to the system, end quote. ANN supports all facets of general aviation and the need to inform congressional leaders how our funding system should work and to fight against being singled out as not paying our equitable share of ATC cost. Is Fantasy of Flight giving up on becoming an aviation version of Disneyland? Fantasy of Flight owner Kermit Weeks announced that effective April 6th, the attraction will be closing its doors as a public attraction and will now focus on its private event business and the design and development of a new future destination attraction. Weeks said, quote, although we are located just 20 minutes west of Walt Disney World, we're currently outside the center of mass tourism and not perceived as a destination, end quote. Fantasy of Flight will focus on its successful events business. It will also turn the facility in what it was originally designed for, which is a restoration and maintenance facility that will be needed to build future attraction elements. Weeks assured us, quote, this isn't the end of Fantasy of Flight. It's just the next step on the company's journey to become what it was always meant to be, a quality attraction that uses entertainment as a means to an end for self-discovery and self-transformation, end quote. You're watching Airborne. We'll be back after these messages with more news and our feature of the day.
ADS-B will be mandatory for most aircraft by 2020 in the United States. But you can benefit from ADS-B today with the Bendix King KT-74 Mode S transponder. The KT-74 meets the global mandates for ADS-B out when attached to a suitable WAAS GPS. Rebuilding the sport aviation world one aviator at a time. That's ANN's new Aerosports ebook series, your resource guide to the ultimate in aviation adventures. Aerosport will feature the straight skinny on learning and enjoying 16 unique aviation sports, from ultralights and ballooning to aerobatics, gyroplanes and hang gliders to parachuting, Homebuilts and general aviation to RC models. All this and more will be coming soon with the new updatable Aerosport guide for your favorite electronic devices. Get your advance order in now at www.aero-sport.net.
Welcome back. If you'd like to suggest a story for Airborne, Aero-TV, our website, or podcast, drop us an email to news-spy@aero-news.net. Just because Mooney has been producing airplanes for years doesn't mean you restart the production line by just throwing a switch. Mooney CEO Dr. Chen has recently fired up manufacturing, and the line is moving. And while systems, technology, and manufacturing processes have occupied Dr. Chen's time, he has been intent on building out his leadership team that will help take the company into the future. Dr. Chen said, quote, the key players are all finally in place. This is among the most experienced leadership team in general aviation. They bring not only expertise to their roles, but they have tremendous passion for our vision." End quote. The new team at Mooney is Barry Hodkin, Chief Financial Officer, Tom Bowen, Chief Operating Officer, Chad Nelson, Chief Manufacturing Officer, and Dr. Neil Pfeiffer, Chief Technical Officer. With some 2,000 Aero-TV programs webcast to cyberspace, sometimes it can be fun to look back, enjoy some of the places we've seen, the flyers we've met, and the planes we've flown. Here's a look at one of our favorite Aero-TV classic episodes. When you introduce a new product that oozes pizzazz, you need to do it right. Bell Helicopter pulled out all the stops. Search Bell's relentless unveiling on Aero-TV's news channel. While the double-aisle, double-deck super jumbo jets are considered the queens of the sky, it's the single-aisle airliners that are the worker bees carrying the loads. Airbus has decided to increase production of its single-aisle aircraft family to 46 a month in the second quarter of 2016, up from the current rate of 42. The new higher production rate will be achieved gradually with an intermediate step of 44 aircraft per month in the first quarter of 2016. With over 10,200 Airbus single-aisle aircraft sold and more than 5,900 delivered to nearly 400 customers and operations, the Airbus A320 family, which includes the A318, A319, A320, and A321, is the world's best-selling single-aisle aircraft family. Airborne's brought to you by some of the best sponsors in the aviation business. We'll be right back with more news.
Since its inception, Redbird Flight Simulations has been dedicated to developing new training technologies and processes in an ongoing effort to make aviation safer, more affordable, and more accessible. Consider Redbird's flagship flight training device, the FMX, a superior quality, full-motion, feature-rich advanced aviation training device priced with real-world flight training organizations in mind. With standard features that are anything but standard, such as wraparound visuals, a fully enclosed cockpit, quick change configurations, scenario-based training compatibility, and of course, an electric motion platform, the FMX serves up a level of realism that is simply unavailable in other training devices on the market. For more information on Redbird flight simulations, the Redbird FMX, and Redbird's entire line of flight training devices, visit www.redbirdflightsimulations.com.
Welcome back. If you'd like to be a supporter of Airborne, Aero-TV, our website or podcast, drop an email to jim@aero-news.net. Two generations of aerospace engineering excellence came together on March 1st, when NASA's Dryden Flight Research Center in Edwards, California, was redesignated NASA's Armstrong Flight Research Center. The agency's Center of Excellence for Atmospheric Flight Research is being renamed in honor of the late Neil A. Armstrong, a former research test pilot at the center and the first man to step on the moon. The late Hugh L. Dryden, the center's namesake since 1976, will continue to be memorialized in the renaming of the center's 12,000 square mile Western Aeronautical Test Range as the Dryden Aeronautical Test Range. NASA Administrator Charles Bolden said, quote, "I cannot think of a more appropriate way to honor these two leaders who broadened our understanding of aeronautics and space exploration. Both Dryden and Armstrong are pioneers whose contributions to NASA and our nation still resonate today." End quote. EAA is encouraging all Kansas EAA members to contact their state representatives and request support for State House Bill 2542, which would exempt home-built aircraft from annual property tax assessment in the state. Home-built aircraft owners in Kansas are at a financial disadvantage in comparison to other aircraft owners. Currently, Kansas law exempts business aircraft and aircraft older than 30 years from property tax. Because the average age of the GA fleet is older than 30 years and newer, more expensive aircraft are most often owned by businesses, Kansas home builders find themselves being amongst the very few in the state paying property taxes to own an aircraft. The rate of taxation varies county to county, but some EAA members have said that they are taxed at a rate of 4.5% of the aircraft's value every year. On the other hand, a pilot who owns a 1980 model Baron worth $150,000 pays nothing. This legislation seeks to correct that inequality. Well, that's our program. Remember to get comprehensive, real-time, 24/7 coverage of the latest aviation and aerospace stories anytime at Aero-News.net. Please remember, Airborne is streamed 3 times a week and is always online. Join us every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday afternoon for a new edition of Airborne. I'm Ashley Hale. Thanks for watching.